How are you doing? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. And what we're seeing, it seems like DeSantis and Disney are back at it again. So earlier we talked about in a video how DeSantis and Disney were going back over the what we call the Don't Say Gay bill. And DeSantis threatened to kind of repeal the special tax district we call the Reedy Creek Improvement District for the people that have lived in Central Florida. If you're not familiar with that story, here's a quick video to kind of update you and get you up to speed with what's going on.
Governor Ron DeSantis says he supports stripping Disney of its special status, which allows it to operate as an independent government around its theme park. Disney has had this status for 55 years, but it's coming under fire by the governor after the Walt Disney Company announced its goal to repeal the recent controversial Parental Rights and Education Bill, widely known as the Don't Say Gay bill. It was just signed into law by the governor on Monday.
My view is we should just treat everybody equally. We shouldn't let one company have their own set of rules compared to everybody else. And I think they've been able to sustain this because they've had a lot of clout for many, many decades. And I think now
the special status law was put in place back in 1967. The governor says it's up to the legislature to repeal it, but it wouldn't be up for consideration until the next legislative session next year.
Now that you watched that particular video, you have a better understanding of what the scenario is. Let's get a bit deeper into this article because there's been a really important update on this story. Let me go ahead and share this out. And what we're saying is that this particular article is from the Wall Street Journal. It's dated April 19th, 2021. Governor DeSantis seeks to end Disney World Special Tax District. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is asking state lawmakers to consider ending the special tax district that has allowed the company to effectively govern the land on which his theme park sits. And he got into the Villages today, which is kind of like a senior area in the middle of Florida. He said it was extending the scope of a special legislative session this week on congressional redistricting to include considerations of special districts like Reedy Creek. Now, the district of Reedy Creek was created in 1967. So that data is really going to be important because under a bill signed by Republican Randy Fine, any special district established prior to the ratification of the Florida Constitution in 1968 and not renewed since then would dissolve on June 1st, 2023. That they have the ability to vote on this tomorrow. So let's say they vote to repeal this special district. It'll be dissolved on June 1st, 2023. Well, what that does is it gives Disney a lot of time to use their political capital, but also use their financial capital and the financial power to try to get that reversed through the courts. But it looks good for DeSantis to say, I was able to stand up to this major corporation and kind of get like political points, which is really what he's trying to do. We talked about before, he's trying to raise his profile in the eyes of people outside of the state of Florida because he's trying to get to a position that's going to exist outside of the state of Florida. So he has to raise his profile. Okay. If this goes through, it doesn't mean it's going to stick, but it can't go through. Now, as a person that's involved in the markets and we're looking at this particular ticker, looking at Disney currently right now, they're trading at 131. They've been selling down since around, I want to say, let's say top of 2021. So we say they got 2021, they got to around 200. So let's say January, February, March of 2021, they were trading around 200. They've been selling down since then. What I would look for is if this goes through on Wednesday, we might get some selling pressure on Disney. They have earnings on May 11th. They may have to address this issue if it does go through. However, Disney owns a massive catalog of content that has a lot of commercial appeal, a lot of commercial intent. They still have verticals in media. They still will have the theme park. It's still going to be operational. People are still going to come visit regardless of the scenario. So it may make a lot of big fuss from a public perception standpoint, but we need to observe how it's going to impact their bottom line. The people on the internet saying that they're not going to do business with Disney, they're just as relevant as the people that 4 years ago said they're not going to do business with the NFL, and the NFL is still the NFL. That's internet talk. It doesn't really mean anything in the real world. Therefore, we have to separate social media stuff from a company that does, let's see real quick, from a company that does $67 billion in total revenue. There's a separation between social media and a company that does 67 billion in total revenue. We got to separate the two because they're not the same. And that's what I want people to understand. When you start really understanding these markets and you start really understanding how politicians will try to leverage media, we got to separate social media and hype from a company that does 67 billion in revenue. Got to separate the two. They're not the same. So the opportunity is going to be there if you can focus on the opportunity and separate yourself from the hype. Now, if you just want to get caught up in the hype, then you're free to do that. But this particular channel and this particular video is for people that want to focus on the opportunity and not get caught up in the hype. You understand me? So that's the scenario. We see now that it's starting to grow legs and it can become a deal. But our goal is to try to figure out where is the opportunity in this, not just the dopamine hit from the hype based on what side of the argument we think we're on because we're playing politics like it's a football team. Disney's going to be Disney when DeSantis is gone. I guarantee you that. So there may be a downward hit that can create opportunity from an equity standpoint because they're still going to be Disney when he's gone because they were Disney before he was here. And the next person that comes in is still going to have to deal with them as a company, and this won't impact their business activity. So it can create a lot of opportunity on both sides of the play, on the downside and also on the upside. And that's what I want people to really focus on. If you got any questions, hit me up in the comments. We'll talk to you later.